Find out what the truth is. It's out there, prove it. Out here with my druids, smoking, oh my goodness. Ball like Patrick Ewing, right like Frederick Douglass. V's up, 2 times, you see it's us, yo. W, been in front, but never been a buzz. I've been enough, need a bump. Adrenaline, I let it pump, like wake me up. She gon' suck like Dyson.
Alright, well, let's hear what this guy has to say.
Of restraining Mr. Floyd in the prone position on the ground, handcuffed, was not a use of force.
That's correct.
And
I mean,
believe
it's
according to
objectively
your
a use of
testimony,
force.
it's because, in your opinion, that position is not likely to inflict pain. Is that correct?
That is correct.
What, dude?
Now, if it did, in fact, inflict pain upon Mr.
Can you
Floyd,
just
would
do that?
Change your opinion?
Yeah.
I can hear
Only
you.
if the positioning of the body, or if the officers were manipulating Mr. Floyd's hands in a way that would create pain, then yes, I would say that would be a use of force.
How the fuck did
My
they get
question
Colonel
is,
Sanders to
if
testify?
Mr. Floyd actually experienced
Who came back from the dead?
You can't.
that change your opinion,
That shit is crazy.
than a use of force.
Like, could you
This
just
guy's
do
a
that
lot
in
of
any
fun.
murder trial? Like, the knife entering her heart was not the cause of death. Like, it's not a use of force. Okay. I mean, you can just say that, I guess.
As we're describing here, just so that we make sure that we're talking about the same terms, would be placing Mr. Floyd on his stomach, correct?
Yes,
Face down,
yes,
handcuffed,
yes,
and as applied here on a hard surface, on the pavement, correct?
yes,
Right. And so if we're talking about that as the prone, you're calling it prone control,
yes.
and I use it interchangeably with prone restraint. Do
I
you
think
accept
they're
that
the same.
term? Okay, so I'll refer to it as a prone restraint. Mr. Floyd is face down, handcuffed behind the back, correct?
Yes,
And at some point, the defendant is on top of him. Is that right?
I think he had his knee on him. I'm not sure if I would describe that as being on top of him.
Oh my god, dude.
If I'm-
I don't know if the sky
Oh
is blue
my
per
God.
se. I would say that it's actually a refraction of light through our atmosphere that it's not objectively blue, but like, fuck off, dude. Like, what? I wouldn't say he was on top of him, but he was on top of him. Like, what?
You should watch
Publish
the,
to the witness exhibit
direct
seven-
examination of this guy after.
17.
Oh, I can't see it anymore.
You can't see it?
Oh, now I can see it.
Okay.
And so, as stated, as shown here in
He's-
Exhibit 17, you're able
Yeah,
to
no, he's
see
not on
the
top of him, dude.
exhibit, is that right?
Yes,
All right, and you see that the defendant has his
I would say
knee
George Floyd's below him, not that Derek Chauvin's on top of him. That's I
on
guess how
top
I
of
characterize
Mr.
it.
Floyd. Is that correct?
I see his knee
In the vicinity
of the area.
Dude, what
Is
the
it on the
fuck?
top or the bottom of Mr. Floyd?
It's on his back.
Oh my god, bro. Are you fucking kidding me?
You tell me, is it on the top, the bottom, the side? Where is his knee?
I see his knee on the upper spine and neck area.
How much did they
Would
pay
you
for that?
would you classify the upper part of his spine as the top or the bottom? Well, you know, I'd say
Her spine then on the top?
Okay, we can use top.
Okay, you would agree with me then.
Yes,
yeah. Thanks. Okay.
And so the defendant is on
Jesus
top
fuck.
of Mr. Floyd.
his knee is on top of his.
Oh my.
And you can't see where his other knee is in this photograph, is that right?
That's correct.
But you have reviewed the body-worn camera footage, correct?
I have.
And you've looked at the other exhibits that have been submitted in this case, or no?
Most of them.
Okay. And so you're aware that now what we're looking at here is the defendant's left knee on top of Mr. Floyd, correct?
Yes,
Are you aware at this point in time that the defendant's right knee is also on top of Mr. Floyd?
I believe it was on his arm or to the side of his body.
You believe it was on his arm?
Yes.
Okay. On top of him, though, right?
Yes.
And so,
Thank you. God damn.
to
Ugh.
answer my question, the defendant is on top of Mr. Floyd on Exhibit 17. Is that right?
Again, when I say on top,
Oh,
I'm going
he
to
can't
the
do it.
Get this guy out of
He
here.
can't do it, bro.
God.
He can't
knee
fucking
hate
both
this shit.
knees on top of Mr. Floyd.
Who is this guy? Where did they find him?
the colonel,
also,
bro.
It's
are
the-
you aware that the defendant weighed approximately 140
Oh,
pounds?
Jesus.
Fucking
Time
came back with
this
herbs
took
and
place.
spices.
Were you aware of that by your review of the records?
Yes.
That it is unlikely
Facts.
that
Hit me up.
orienting yourself on top of a person on the pavement with both legs is unlikely to produce pain?
It could.
What do you mean it
Oh
could?
my
Is it
God.
unlikely
Good.
to
Yeah.
produce
No,
pain,
you know.
or is it likely to produce pain?
Possible.
I'm saying it could produce pain.
It could.
Yes.
And if it could produce pain, then, again, just looking at your premise, if it could produce pain, then it would be a use of force, wouldn't it?
If the officer's intent was to inflict pain, that would
Not
be use
the
of force.
officer's intent, sir. What you said is that it was unlikely to produce pain, and that's why it wasn't a use of force. You now just said that it could produce pain. And so, regardless of the officer's intent, if this act that we're looking at here in Exhibit 17 could produce pain, would you agree that what we're seeing here is a use of force?
Shown in this picture, that could be a use of force.
Didn't he just say in the... Josh, weren't you saying that he said it wasn't a use of force?
Yeah, and the cross
Okay,
examination.
well...
Okay.
Okay, I guess we can just put this to rest then.
If you'd take that down, please.
If you take... Please make note of that this dude's a fucking liar.
And sir, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about positional asphyxia. I understand your testimony about positional asphyxia. This is something that you're familiar with, is that right?
Yes.
This is something that you've taught in courses to budding officers, I'm assuming? The dangers of positional asphyxia?
Yes.
And in positional asphyxia, is it true that positional asphyxia is a result of
Bro, being a lawyer
oxygen
would be so
deprivation?
fun.
Is that right?
Yes.
And that is as a result of
Yeah, I liked it
the
in
chest
high
cavity,
school when
the
I did my
inability
job.
for the lungs to expand. Fair?
Yes.
And
Yo.
In positional
Yo, yo.
asphyxia, as understood in law enforcement,
Yeah, wait, is this the
can be a
prosecution or the
result
defense?
of being
This is the
having to
prosecution.
test your body weight on the ground.
Toby,
In a prone position.
Toby,
Dude, this dude's a little worm. What?
we need the facts.
You need the facts? What?
We need the facts
This is the
About-
fact zone.
about the trial.
Like, what do I think about it?
Just the facts. Only the facts.
Black dude died.
Black dude murdered.
Allegedly.
Nah, bro.
He potentially died.
I just don't understand how this guy could come out for the defense and say, no, it wasn't a use of force. And then under any kind of pressure, he's like, okay, yeah, it was a use of force.
He was a shit bum, bro. That's why.
I mean, yeah, he's a
Fucking lying
little.
through his teeth.
He's like a little fucking worm. He's trying to squirm out of this shit. I'm gonna start speaking like him so that way I can never get caught with anything.
Exactly, bro. It's just like,
No, mom and dad, I did not cheat on that test. Here's a picture of you looking at your fellow student's paper during the examination. I just wanted to make sure that he was spelling the name right.
well, can you even define what cheating is? Because, what is reality, actually? It could actually all be a simulation, in which case there is no cheating because there is no... That's like, how far do you want to fucking take it, dude?
I wasn't looking at his paper. We have a picture of you looking at his paper. No,
What do you-
my eyes were just moving around.
What do you define as looking?
Our eyes actually don't see much of anything. It's our brain that creates a composite from the information collected by the information that our eyes receive. So really, I think it was actually all just a a figment of my imagination that I happened to see the right answers when my eyes were trained towards the direction of the paper that what I wasn't actually looking at, but was. It's like you can just word salsa your way through it.
What I don't like, if I was the prosecution here, I'd be like, Your Honor, permission to request a demonstration. Mr. Dumbass white guy, can I? Would you be comfortable participating in this demonstration and allowing me to kneel on your neck and see if there's any pain in reenacting this scenario?
Yeah, if only.
And then he'll say, well, you're not going to actually be on top of me. You might be on the side. So
Your
it's okay.
knee may be on the top of my spine, which is not the bottom of me, but is not necessarily the top of what you are on.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Dude,
Yo,
sounds like he...
Oop, didn't mean to do that. I need to find out
Gabe,
who this guy is.
I'm gonna generate a room code, so
Yeah, let
you
me
can
try
join
joining
up.
you. Just see what it's like.
yeah, okay. Here, I'm gonna text you it.
This guy's a consultant, Gabe. He like teaches and trains like academies the proper procedure for like use of force and restraints.
Well, shit. I guess we
Oh,
figured out
well,
what we need to
yeah.
reform.
He's-
Just fire this
He's
guy.
the perfect guy to interview, considering there was just a policeman in this exact same district that just shot somebody thinking they were using a taser. So he's perfectly qualified.
All right, let's see if this fucking works. Come on, baby.
Bye bye. It looks like it worked. What
Yeah, that's
world
pretty
tier do you want to go on? I think we're on 5. No.
We can try 5, but like I said, it's probably. How about we stay at 5? Let's try and get powerful enough to be okay at 5, and then I think it's at 6. It starts to get a little toughy, and it might not be worth the time. And I think you can still get pretty good loot at 5 too. But here, I'm gonna keep playing this.
Your own body weight, the subject's own body weight.
That could, yes.
That could cause positional asphyxia, just the body weight itself.
If the person is extremely obese.
Sure.
If
Oh,
you or
my
I were to
God.
lie with our hands cupped behind our back on the ground, I don't think either one of us would be prone to positional asphyxia.
Well, I will take that as a compliment, just for the purposes of argument here.
What?
But
He's saying he's
Yeah.
not
can be
fat.
instances, certainly,
And by the
in
way,
which
George
a
Floyd,
person,
if you look at the
by nature of their own body weight, could
the
experience positional
film,
asphyxia.
he's not fat, but he is a very big
And things
dude.
that could, further
He's got a bit of a bear
exacerbate
belly,
or
though.
contribute to that could be.
Well,
I
no,
mean,
he's saying
ripped.
he was saying the person standing on George Floyd would have to be fat,
Oh, okay.
which is insane. I mean, 100 pounds on your neck, I think, would be enough for anybody, which most people weigh above 100. So,
Not to mention he's also decked out in gear. He's
right.
got body armor and
And
gun and
further, regardless, like when the dude is yelling, "I can't breathe, please help, mama, help me, stop." Like maybe let the dude sit up and fucking catch his breath. He's still handcuffed. He's not going anywhere. You can stay on his knees if you want to. Like,
also
there's just no excuse.
there's like there's a bunch of conservatives throwing out the fact that he said I can't breathe or like I'm struggling to breathe before the kneeing on his neck even happened, in which case it would be an even worse and so they're trying to say that that's why George Floyd, oh shit, we're on the wrong side of the river here, that they're trying to say that that's why George Floyd died instead of, or that's why Chauvin shouldn't be prosecuted instead of what actually took place, which is if a dude's saying he can't breathe, that's even more reason not to knee on his fucking neck.
right.
Yeah.
That in this case, the initial call that the officers were responding
Also,
to
if this
was
guy
a
trains
counterfeiting
police,
allegation or forgery
should he
allegation
not be
passing a
biased?
$20 bill.
or
Right.
considered
Yes.
biased?
And could you agree?
No, he'd be considered an
that,
expert
in terms
witness or
of
testimony.
The range of criminal offenses. This
That doesn't
would be
mean
fairly
he's
low level.
Giving
But
good
it would also
testimony.
mean
But,
that he's employed
Yes,
by the
but
police.
again, as I mentioned earlier.
well, he's supposed to be.
he
In,
owns his own company.
What I was asking
Yeah,
is if
No,
you
but he is
agree-
paid. But he
Contracted.
contracts with the
You
police.
to
Yeah,
explain if you want, but
he gets paid
you-
by them.
You would agree
Is my
that
point.
in terms of the range of different criminal
I don't.
offenses
I
that are
mean,
available,
it does he have
a
bias? Yeah, of
counterfeiting
course.
call
But
or
I don't think
a
it's
fake
like.
$20
I mean, I think he has a right to
is
testify, but
unnecessary.
it's the defense's
Yeah.
job or the
And I think
prosecution's
what
job
you
to prove
probably
that
Right.
he's
say
not.
is but that
He's
could
not good.
And again, it's all about the contact. and
Right.
resistance
I mean, it
of the
makes
suspect.
sense, right? Because
Yeah.
Which is completely
they also
different than the
had George
seriousness
Floyd's
of the
brother
underlying offense.
testify,
That's
who
why the
is
statute is
obviously
going
gonna
to
be
let's just keep
biased.
this
Yeah.
that
I don't think
analytical
it's
framework.
okay to be
Seriousness
biased.
of the
It's just,
offense.
is your
Not the
bias?
response, 'cause we'll
I
get
also
to
don't
the
understand why
responses.
he even testified.
Okay.
Like he wasn't
And-
there at the
and
crime of
would
the
it-
scene
would you
or
say,
had anything to do about
well,
it.
he's
You
an
agree
he's
with me
probably
that,
considered
you
an
know,
expert
the
witness, right?
response of the
He'd be
subject
considered like
to
a
the
what do they
subject
call
or
it?
the officer on the scene,
An expert
that's
witness.
probably the
No?
operative.
No, because he's not an.
So what?
No, you have to be like credentialed in some way to be a expert.
Well,
witness.
he
would be like a
trains
character
police,
testimony
is
or
that-
something. It's called like
Well, character testimony is somebody that's like would be George Floyd's brother would be like a character testimony. He wasn't
yeah, that's what
there
I'm
at
saying.
all, but he's there to show
There's-
that George Floyd is a nice guy.
character testimony isn't the word. There's something like that. Fuck, I can't remember the legal term, but yeah, it's like it's someone who's maybe not an expert in any field, but probably knows the victim on an intimate level and can, even though it's obviously from probably a biased from knowing the person intimately, that still can be useful information to the jury that
But
this
I'm pretty
is
sure the jurors are explicitly told by the judge to not take character into consideration when coming to a decision, coming to a verdict. You're
well
not supposed to take
if
someone's a good person or not into whether or not they're guilty.
but that's it already is a factor because that's the defense has brought up that he has a criminal past and whatnot, so I think it's fair game at that point. I don't know. I didn't listen to the testimony of his brother. I don't know what the relevance was, but obviously there was some legal relevance, or I don't think the judge would have allowed it.
Yeah.
The officer
No, this
stayed
witness is
blind
sounding
because
like a
of the
broken
moment,
man at this
but
point.
It's not a justification for the
He's not even really trying anymore. He came in hot, but
I agree.
yes, I agree. Yes.
You talked
Okay.
about situational awareness.
I wouldn't say
and
he came in
situational
hot, Dave.
awareness is something that
I mean, he came in hot with the
important
like challenging everything.
I
Like,
think
would
you're
you say
both anyway.
Mr. Chauvin was on top
We can agree
of
with that, right?
George Floyd?
But
Well,
in particular,
Are you talking about
situational
Colonel Sanders?
awareness is
Yeah,
something
Colonel
important
Sanders.
for an
I mean, yeah, he
officer,
came in
reasonable officer.
defensively, but he sounded
Right.
like a moron.
Yes.
no, I know, but he came in hot like with the moronic takes, and now he's just kind of like he's like I said, he sounds like a broken man. Like he's
Totality of
yes,
facts and
okay,
circumstances that are
yeah,
presented
you're right.
to the officer at the time.
Maybe he just remembered that he
And-
testified
and-
under
and
oath. Don't they
looking
testify under oath?
particularly at the behavior
Maybe he just remembered
of
that.
the
He's
person
like, oh
upon
fuck.
whom force is being
I'm just
applied.
bullshitting
Important
right
that
now.
The officer is situationally aware of the condition of the subject, correct?
He's like, I have an anxiety. It's
Because
gonna
if
ruin the rest of my
subject
life.
does something aggressive, they may need to adjust their plan and the use of force, correct? Their application. But if the subject is manifesting compliance or a medical condition, illness, then the officer needs to be situationally aware of that as well. Fair?
Should.
Do you agree, in having read the training materials and you're aware of MPD policy, and I'm assuming you've listened to some of the testimony in this case, as an expert, you're allowed to do that?
I listened to 2 testimonies from the use of force experts.
All right. Do you agree with the proposition that in law enforcement, once somebody is in your custody, they're in your care?
I agree.
And in fact, that's the MPD policy and training, in your custody, in your care, correct?
Yes.
And situational awareness, then, would you agree, sir, that includes being aware of the subject's medical condition,
Yes.
particularly if they're exhibiting signs of distress?
Yes.
loss of
Ooh,
consciousness,
this is pretty damning.
Yes.
inability to breathe,
Yes.
loss of pulse.
Yes.
All of these things a reasonable officer should take into consideration when determining whether to escalate force, de-escalate force, or remain the same, correct?
Yes.
Now, would
Okay,
you
they don't look
agree, sir,
exactly the
that
same.
the application of the use of force must be reasonable at the start and at the end? True?
I agree.
And at all points in between.
Yes.
And if there's ever a point at which the use of force becomes unreasonable, that it must stop
Or de-escalate.
or
Not
de-escalate.
exactly.
It must de-escalate to a point of being reasonable, correct?
Yes.
Because that's really the standard, is that of reasonability.
You want to do
right?
these side missions?
Yeah.
Yes.
And,
Yeah, hold on. I'm
in
just
terms
changing
of
around some of my gear
proportionality,
because I got
you've
some
read the
upgraded shit
materials, you've
during
studied
that.
the MPD policies, you're familiar with the MPD Defense Tactics and Control Guide, Continuum, Use of Force Continuum.